So welcome to another episode of Money in the Bank with Frank, Wednesday edition. I just got back from a wonderful trip to St. Louis where we were invited in to take a look at some new agricultural technology. Why don't we go ahead and roll some stuff, and we'll be back with you. So, hell, as you well know, I just got back from a trip to St. Louis where I've never been before. And of course, I had to do all the great things like going and seeing the arch, and then went and saw the Missouri Athletic Club, which was really neat. And we were able to go to see the Donald Danforth Center, which was really spectacular, just fascinating. And people ask regularly, it's like, what does a financial advisor do? Like, what kind of research are you really getting done? What are you really doing? And so as an investor in multiple ag tech, multiple investments in the ag tech space, my cabal, if you will, of accredited investors, we try to support the investments that we've made any way we can, right? Eat your own dog food. And so we were invited to the St. Louis area by Martha Schlichter, who, by the way, just an amazing person who's in charge of, or really has taken upon herself to bring in and support a lot of the local startups and continuing the research-driven thing that brought them all to the St. Louis area. So again, thank you so much, Martha and crew, for showing us around. To get connections like this is amazing. And so while we have these amazing connections in St. Louis, when they asked us to come out and do some diligence on a company that may be moving to the area, what could I do but say yes? So we were lucky enough to head out there. They welcomed us in with open arms, and we saw this beautiful Danforth Plant Science Center, which has an amazing proximity to some of the bigger companies in the area, including Bayer, who just bought Monsanto. Now, if Sohill, you pull up that picture of the Danforth Center, you can actually see one of the fascinating things about the center is that they've got that water catchment system in the front of that building. And that water catchment system at the bottom of the system is like, heavier, bigger rocks. And then it kind of filters on its way up. And so that water is kept in that place from rain. And that then feeds, as you can see, all of the wildflowers, all the wildlife around the building. And one of the funny things that one of the people inside who actually takes care of the grounds there at the center says is that there's a lot of people that actually think that Danforth Center is not occupied because of all the wild grass and all the overgrowth that goes onto it. So I find that fascinating and fun. And the cool thing about it is they seeded all that area in front of the center with native flowers of that area. So that is the actual stuff that survived. Over the 300 seeds that they put out, that's what actually made it through the rough weather, if you will. Anyway, so the beauty there was that St. Louis was just such an amazing place because they've effectively had so many huge industrial complexes and companies there, but they didn't really have anyone that wanted to stay after they retired, and they were losing a lot of research people whenever they would move from one company to another. So through collaboration with some of these different companies, the Danforth Plant Science Center kind of evolved. It first started out as a research hub, and then it kind of transitions through from research only to a collaborative, almost socialist, if you will, type of venture for the ag sciences, where they cross-pollinate different ideas and create a company without all the drama, for lack of a better term. It felt more like a family, and the support that they gave each other was just amazing. They have on the back of the Danforth Center, they have a greenhouse, which is, run and you can commercially rent this space out to do your own research. They provide lab techs to do some of the stuff and some of the work and make sure that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. They have an enormous amount of demand for their greenhouse area and not enough supply. So companies like 39 North and some other people are starting to look at creating more greenhouse space to continue this journey. And I was just so happy that they were able to bring us in and show us all of the amazing things that they have to offer. And I'm really hoping to get a lot of good technology and some good investment options for my clients in the process as well. So when people ask, what do you do for research other than look at a magazine or check the web? Well, you got to go out there and you got to kick the tires like we did. So what was really great was I was able to go to visit with some of these entrepreneurs that are starting these amazing small companies, these small startup companies. We were able to meet with Brian Witherby at Agrigene. Oh my gosh, what a crazy, amazing, interesting concept. They think of mosquitoes. They'll take male and female mosquitoes, which are really nothing more, at least female mosquitoes, nothing more than vectors to transmit disease and stuff between humans. They turn on a gene that makes the males glow green and one that makes the females glow red, and then they sterilize them using their technology, and then they release them out whenever they know the season's coming for mating for those particular insects. And then the ones that are not sterile are going to mate with sterile ones. The ones that are not sterile are going to mate with sterile ones. And there you go. You've gotten rid of the problem without pesticides. Fascinating concept. And I got to see it in action. It was pretty cool. And we went out there originally to actually do diligence a company called Epicrop. And as I pointed out, sometimes you need to use the technology and sometimes just write it down. It's a little quicker. So So this company is a company that currently has some pretty interesting things going on, but the real decision is, are they going to move to St. Louis? And so we were there to provide material support, showing that if the technology is interesting enough, there's plenty of people that are willing to write a check. But then there was another cross collaboration of about 15 or 16 other companies that share similar technologies or have at least similar interests, and shows that they can actually basically add value by being able to bump across these different companies and collaborate together without the typical whose P&L is this going to go on to. So that's been really fascinating, as well as the fact that these guys have been doing and had done research for research sakes. They also know how to do really fascinating things like get non-dilutive financing. Let me repeat that. Non-dilutive financing is amazing for somebody like me who likes it when your companies actually try to find creative ways that other people will pay for your research. So that was a really fascinating one. And then we also got to kick the tires on two of our existing investments. Yes, I'm talking my book. One that is called Impetus AG. And Impetus, if you throw up that slide right now, I'd like to point out Impetus is really neat because what they do is they have a platform that allows for the use of a existing pesticide, old school pesticide. When I say old school pesticide, how could he be talking positive about pesticide? Well, first and foremost, it does not interact with us at all as humans. If we can ingest it, it's not going to hurt us. Throw that slide back up. And the second thing that it does is it allows you to see that with the use of these pesticides, what I've been saying all along, if you see that one tractor in the middle there, instead of a zillion people out there in the fields doing and tending, it now takes less than 2% of the global population to feed us. And if we can get even better, as we know, free electricity and free food makes it a free and liberated world. So even though we've come this far, we need to keep going, and research into these agricultural technologies is very important. So our company, Impetus, which, by the way, loved seeing it, loved kicking the tires on it. I actually, very gifted. Keep in mind that I got my degree in the liberal arts. So I just want to, if you throw up my diagram of what Impetus does to make, here we go. So if you take a look at the top, that's the fall armyworm with the mandibles. And you can see that it likes to eat corn over there. So what we do is we have this natural toxin in the soil called Bacillus thuringiensis, BT for short. BT is harmful to them. It sticks to the inside of their abdomen and it causes them to die. But like any antibiotic that we take, the reason that you take the full course of the antibiotic, even if you feel better, is because what's left over may develop a resistance. And what we've seen over time is that resistance has become meaningful. And newer technologies that come out are just that. We don't know what they do to the people. We don't know what they do to us as humans. And so when you can use an older technology and enhance it, you win. And so what they're doing is they have a, lack of a better term, a barbell type strategy. You can see in my very clear picture there, on one side, you've got a protein that better binds to the abdomen of said pest. And then you've got the double-sided doodad, as I put it, that then sticks to the BT, which makes it much more susceptible to doing its job and getting rid of those pests for our crops, allowing us to do what? Have better crops that aren't eaten by the bugs. And in a nutshell, that's what we saw in action. I kicked the tires. We saw it. We saw the run rates. We talked to the CEO. They were showing us some clever ways that they were able to acquire additional equipment at minimal cost. And when you do that, when you see that, it just leads to more comfort and further follow-on rounds for different private investments. And that's what we were able to do while we were there. It was just a great trip to see something. I was telling Sohail earlier, it was a lot like going into school where you knew you didn't have to have any tests. You're going in there just for the sake of learning. And it was just such a great opportunity. I want to thank the Danforth Center, Isabel, for taking us around and showing us the center. And again, thank you, Martha and crew, for all of the research that you gave us. Hey, you. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Money in the Bank with Frank. If you like that, hit the subscribe button. We have plenty more content like that on the Merge TV, and we look forward to seeing you next time.